Hi everyone. Today we are going to discuss about antepartum hemorrhage. Antepartum hemorrhage is a bleeding from or into the genital tract after the 28th week of pregnancy, but before the birth of the baby. After 28th and before birth of the baby, the bleeding from the or into the genital tract is called as antepartum hemorrhage. So the causes of antepartum hemorrhage fall into the following categories: placental and extraplacental. So placental bleeding is up to 70% chances, and remaining extraplacental are 5%. So in placental bleeding, placenta previa due to placenta previa and abruptio placenta. Extraplacental causes like local cervicovaginal lesions, cervical polyps, carcinoma of cervix, varicose vein, local trauma. So let's see placenta previa and abruptio placenta. Placenta previa. When the placenta is implanted partially, you can see the picture. So this is the normal. So this is placenta previa. Definition is when the placenta is implanted partially or completely over the uterine segment. So lower uterine segment, over and adjacent. So this is placenta should be at normal place. So this is upper portion, but here in the lower uterine segment. So if it is over the internal os or adjacent, so that is placenta previa other than the normal position. Etiology. So before going to etiology, let's see incidences. About 1/3 cases of antepartum hemorrhage belong to placenta previa. This antepartum hemorrhage occur mostly with placenta previa, abruptio placenta. So 1/3 cases with the placenta previa. The incidences of placenta previa ranges from 0.5 to 1% among hospital deliveries. In 80% cases, it is found in multiparous women. So this incidence is increasing beyond the age of 35 years with high birth order pregnancies and in multiple pregnancies. Let's see the etiology. Dropping down theory. So when the fertilized ovum drops down, and implanted in the lower uterine segment. So due to the poor decidual reaction in the upper uterine segment, that might be a cause. So failure of that zona pellucida to disappear in the time and can be a hypothetical possibility. That means the fertilized ovum dropped down. In the normal, it has to be adherent here, but it is dropping down. So this is the dropping down theory. Next is persistence of chorionic activity. So in the decidua capsularis and its subsequent development into the capsular placenta, which comes in contact with decidua vera of the lower uterine segment. This can explain the formation of lesser degrees of placenta previa. The other one is defective decidua. That means it results in spreading of the chorionic villi over a wide area in the uterine wall to get nourishment. So during this process, what happens? Not only the placenta become membranous, but encroaches onto the lower uterine segment. So due to the defective of decidua, there is a high chances of placenta previa. And big surface area of the placenta. When there is a big surface of the placenta, Mostly it can be seen in twins, may encroach onto the lower uterine segment. Risk factor, high risk factors. In multiparity, as I said in the incidences, and maternal age over 35 years, Asian women has the higher risk of this placenta previa, and who had undergone with infertility treatment and presence of any uterine scar, multiple pregnancies, if they had any previous placental abnormalities, and smoking. So these are the high risk women. Let's see the types of degrees of placenta previa. So there are 4 types, as you can see in this picture. This is the type 1, or it is called as low lying. This type 2, it is called marginal. Type 3, incomplete or partial. Type 4 is the central or complete. Let's see what is type 1. Or you can call it as degrees 1. Okay, type 1, this is the low lying. The majority part of the placenta is attached to the upper segment only, and only the lower margin encroaches into the lower segment, but not up to the internal os. You can see here. So this is type 1. Type 2, the placenta reaches the margin. See, so this is the margin, the placenta is reaching here. So the placenta reaches the margin of the internal os but does not cover it. Next, type 3, partial covering. The placenta covers the internal os partially. Type 4, see, complete coverage. The placenta completely covers the internal os even after it is fully dilated. So these are the degrees or types of placenta previa. As you can see here, this is normal, this is abnormal. Let's see the clinical features. Vaginal bleeding is present, and due to the loss of blood, the women have anemia. When abdominal examination is done, following can be seen. The size of the uterus is proportionate to the period of gestation, and uterus feels relaxed, soft and elastic without any localized area of tenderness. Persistence of malpresentations like breach, transverse or unstable lie can be seen more frequently in these cases who are suffering with this placenta previa. And the head is floating. In contrast to the period of gestation, persistent displacement of the fetal head is very suggestive. The head cannot be pushed down onto the pelvis in these cases. And so that means the head is floating, means in the normal delivery, the head have to fit in the pelvis, but here head will be floating due to the presence of placenta at internal os. Next, fetal heart rate. It is usually present unless there is a major separation of the placenta with the patient. So, by doing vulval inspection, so remember, always you need to, in placenta previa, abruptio placenta, you need to do inspection. You should not do PV. So, only on inspection, whether the bleeding is still occurring or has ceased. Remember that in placenta previa, the blood is bright red as the bleeding is coming from, occurs from the separated uteroplacental sinuses close to the cervical opening. And vaginal examination must not be done, should not be done. Diagnostic evaluation under placentography under this ultrasonography can be done. Apart from that, color Doppler, magnetic resonance imaging, MRI should be done. Let's see the management. Regular management. So regular antenatal, to prevent this, first regular antenatal care to improve the health status of the woman and correction of anemia should be done. And antenatal diagnosis, if low lying placenta at 28th week is found with routine ultrasound, needs repeat ultrasound examination at 34th week to confirm the diagnosis. Next, significance of warning hemorrhage should not be ignored. If there is any hemorrhage is present during antenatal period, that should not be ignored. Color flow Doppler ultrasonography in placenta previa is indicated to detect any placenta accreta. So here, treatment on admission, immediate attention. So overall assessment of the case is quickly made and amount of blood loss. By noting the general condition, pallor, pulse rate, blood pressure, we can find amount of blood loss, and blood sample should be taken for grouping, cross matching and estimation of hemoglobin. Gentle abdominal palpation should be done to ascertain any uterine tenderness and auscultation to note the fetal heart rate is present or not. Inspection of the vulva to note any presence of active bleeding, and formulation of the line of treatment. So here expected and active management should be done. Under expected management, first you need to see availability of blood transfusion, you have to keep ready. Facility for cesarean section should be available throughout 24 hours, and the first thing is bed rest with bathroom and toilet privileges in expected treatment or management. Periodic inspection should be done. Investigations like hemoglobin estimation, blood grouping and urine for protein to be done. Periodic inspection like vulval pads and fetal surveillance with ultrasonography at intervals of 2-3 weeks. And supplementary hematinics like giving adequate supplements to control the anemia. And gentle speculum examination is made to exclude local cervical and vaginal lesions for bleeding. And use of tocolytic like magnesium sulfate can be done if vaginal bleeding is associated with uterine contractions. And use of cervical circlage to reduce the bleeding and to prolong the pregnancy is helpful. Under next is the active management. So active management, cesarean delivery is done for all the women with sonographic evidence of placenta previa where placental edge is within the 20 centimeters at internal os. Then vaginal delivery may be considered where the placental edge is clearly 2-3 centimeters away from the internal os. So when there is within 2 centimeters, cesarean section should be done. If it is away from 2 to 3 centimeters, that means you can see here, suppose, see if it is 2 to 3 centimeters away in stage 1, then we can go for vaginal delivery. No, if it is within the 2 centimeters, definitely the woman should go under C-section. Complications. Complications like hemorrhage, antepartum hemorrhage with varying degrees of shock is an inevitable complication. And malpresentations, it is increased incidence of in breech presentation and also in transverse line. Premature labor, either spontaneous or induced, is common. Early rupture of membranes can be seen. Postpartum hemorrhage and retained placenta.